Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. I'm going to carry on with the front end on the 32 Sedan. I've repaired this spring perch here, and here I have the shackles that I'm going to use. So what I'm going to do now is take the spring off, take the spring perches off both sides, clean these up and press these into there and into there. Sorry about the mess in here, but I'm just too, tied up with trying to do jobs to tidy up. It's a bad trait of mine, I know it. Right, this is what I've just done, is put this piece of old metal in this vise here, because that's given me, and I've set it to the same level as that, so the spring can rest on there while I've got this here. I haven't got any of those plates with V's in them. That's got to go like that, hasn't it? So I need to put something over here that I can press onto, and normally a little socket is the favourite. Now I don't know whether I should put something on this. I'm going to try it without, because this is spring material here. Now that's just a 9/16 socket there. Let's just give this a try then. Okay, that's going in nicely, I think. With some resistance, but okay. Okay, yeah, that looks alright. Right, let's get this round the other way then. This is a good idea, actually. I'm, pleased with this idea, having this extra support over here. Right, so where's the other thing? I can't see any name on the thing. That looks okay. Looks alright. That's that one I had to modify. Right, I don't need this now. This is the one that I repaired. Okay, cross your fingers. Oh, I didn't think it was going to go then, you know. It was a little bit reluctant to start. Oh, hang on. That's the danger with these. If you balloon the end, you're buggered basically. Okay, I've got to go slightly further, but that won't allow it. So I need a slightly smaller. Oh, if I can do it. No, I'll have to get something else, but I'll do the other one first. This one might be easier because it's not been rebored, you know, it might be a little bit over. Let's start off with it level like that, then move it. This is why it's important not to have the press flexing all over the place. Okay, just need to go in a tiny little bit more. Snap on, industrial, 1/2 inch. That's it, I'm happy with that. That's okay. I'm looking at the squares are equal both sides. Okay, good, right. I'm going to just use this brush to clean up the cones. This is the repaired one. This is the one that I haven't repaired. Put some copper grease on there just to protect it, because you never know, in 50 years from now somebody might be trying to undo this. Let's face it, in a year from now I might be trying to undo it. Sweet. I'm going to use this, clean those tapered areas on the grinding wheel. I'll be back in a sec. I'm thinking if I get one side on, and then kind of work on the other side. So I've done a few of these, but I haven't done them, like day in, day out, like a professional shop. So, I can't remember quite how I did them last time. I'll leave that loose because it isn't quite lining up nicely. I think it'll be easier to line up if it's looser, like that. That's better. Okay. Them are on. you know something, I might just put a G-clamp on them rather than messing about with nuts and bolts. Okay, that's on. Okay, I'm going to try something I've never tried before. I've loosened this perch bolt. Actually, no, I can't see that working. I was going to say I'll twist the perch and it'll pull it round, but I think it'll take such a lot of force it won't do it. I was thinking, I've forgotten that that hole was closed off now. I was going to stick a piece of tubing through that hole. Okay. Hey, that wasn't too bad, was it? Alright. Now the problem is, these are only on the ends of the threads. Well, the front one's actually on the square. And the back one is. There we go. I used that on there and this carver clamp. I found this when I was walking the dog. Somebody had put a skip load of rubbish out and this was just on the edge of the skip so somebody could take it, and it was all rusted up, and I freed it up and I've just used it now on that job. Okay, so now I can fit the proper nuts. I'm not sure I'd recommend this way doing it, but you know, it worked for me because it's a reverse die spring. It's not so easy to put a spring spreader on. There we go, nice and springy. Leave it in. Okay, good. So there we are, you know, a job that worked out okay. A lot of work actually just to achieve that. It was like 2 days work, you know, not full day, you know, 2 days part-time work, just repairing the one perch bolt, which is that one. I'm not going for a super low look, so we'll see what it's like with, you know, with the weight of the engine on it. But I was quite pleased to have do this up using that method. I just put a bar in there and twisted it and got it on. I might do this, and then when I'm all happy about it, I'll flip it over and do it the right way up. Do it all the right way up. Down on the floor on axle stands, I think. 3-legged ones. Okay. Hello, here we are at Richard's. Here's Richard. Hi Rich. I've come to just check on progress so that there's a little bit of an update to include in my you know, bits and bobs video, and there is a little bit of progress but not a massive amount of progress. But what you can see there, look, is the tailgate. Richard's put the tailgate on, so that's on there. He's mended the hinges to a certain extent. I think you still need to do a bit here, Rich.
Yeah, it works okay.
Works all right, okay. And he's been working out the handbrake. He's put some cables in there, and we're a little bit concerned that that bracket at the front might not clear the prop shaft, but till he puts the prop shaft in we won't know really, so that might need lifting up or something like that, but it's in there. But what he has just told me is that all the brakes are bled, which is a positive, because I didn't realise that when I was showing it before. And the other thing that he's been working on, bear in mind he's back at work now and not locked down, is he's put the windows in, put the side windows in. Do you want to show us the window going up and down, Rich? So that's the channel that he had from me. Oh, there you go, it's going up and down. So he said the channel on the bottom fell off the first time, so he's had to kind of seal it all in. Nice one, thanks Rich. And he's had to reuse the original rubbers here, but he's been building it up with silicone there, or whatever it is. So that's it, just those little bits to report. The big sticking point obviously is the motor, but what Richard's thinking is that what he might do, what I've just been chatting to him about, is for the registration he might just put the motor back together and put it into the vehicle, because to get it registered the vehicle has to look complete. So it might be a case of putting the motor in, even though we know it's no good, just as a dummy. And then, but he can do all the hoses, he can do the exhaust, he can, you know, do everything else and get it all like as if it was going to be running. And then when he does get a motor, he can just do a swap and then it will be running. But he can move forward with things like the radiator and the hoses and stuff like that, linkages and everything. Okay, that's it. Just a little brief update for this week. Cheers then, bye. Do you know what really annoys me? When you buy repro parts that are no good. I've had this set of, you know, drag link, tie rod, you know, refurbished kit for a while now, and I didn't use it before because I didn't like it. I just found the best used parts I could find, and I'm having to do the same again now. So here we have the parts from the drag link and the tie rod. And here we have the so-called rebuild parts. But I'll show you. You see this one here? That, as far as I can tell, is perfect, because this one was winding the spring in. It didn't have a ball rubbing against it. This was in the drag link. This one was the one that was up against this very worn ball there, like that. That one. So that's worn out, okay, as is that. But that's alright, because I'll use that one. That's good. This one and this one are out of that tie rod, and they're not perfect, but they are okay. This ball seats in there okay. But here's, let's say for instance, here's a new one, right? Does that look like that? Does it? No, it don't, does it? It looks more like that. It's as if somebody's got it. So I need some of them. Yeah, here's a load of them. Great, thanks a lot. So all of these, as far as I'm concerned, are scrap, because they're worn out already. And if you look at the ball, it's hard for me to show you, but the ball doesn't sit in it. The ball rides around in it, look. See how I'm able to move that like that, look. It just doesn't seat in there. So that would wear in the middle there and wear the ball locally there. If you seat it into a decent one like that, you can't move it. It's seated in, it's spherical. So all them are rubbish, and all these are just as bad. Look, the ball doesn't seat into them. I just tried putting like a little drilling in the middle of that one. Didn't make any difference. These here, just as bad. Absolute rubbish. I was going to say something else then. Absolute crap. So there you are. So you pay your money. You pay a load of money on top to have them imported into England, and you might as well just throw them in the bin, because they're rubbish. What I'm worried about is I don't know if I've got any better used parts. I've got no choice but to use these, really. That's just about serviceable. That's just about serviceable. That's serviceable. These are just about serviceable. So, and that, I mean, yeah, I know that one ain't great, is it? But they're the best I've got. What I will do, I'll use one of these against the spring, so that'll work okay. Okay, I'll do my best with what I've got. That was the other thing. All these, I bought a load of these as well, these balls. They were all no good. I had to turn them on the lathe, skim that diameter there. This one here might be as bought, and I'll show you what the problem was. Here is a 32 steering arm. So here's a old ball from Ford there, look, see, goes in nicely, and then you have the correct relationship to put the nut on, tighten it up and get the split pin in. So here is one that was bought from America. I even phoned them up and said, can you do a test, make sure it fits before you send them, because I've bought some already that are no good, and they sent these. Look at this. What do you think of that? Load of rubbish. So I took these, you can see that's actually the same one, it's got a little square in the bottom, and I set them up on the, it was actually the little Myford lathe, and I turned them like that to get them somewhere better. Now that might be a bit too far, to be honest, but it'll work. But that is not no good, is it? It's no good, look at it. And again, it's like, I don't know what causes it, but it's just people don't care to make them right. They make something that looks like the part and just keep pushing it out the door. Look at that. It's skating around like as if it's in a saucer. It needs to be solidly located. Here's the one from the drag link, look. That's in. It doesn't float around. It's good. Do you think I need to go and have a cup of tea? I do. Okay. Thanks a lot then. Okay, see you later. Hello, I'm back out in the garage, and I've just come out to sort of remind myself what I've been doing, but I've took out the U-bolts. I've found 4 spring washers. I'm going to keep looking because that one don't quite match, but I always like to make sure I've got all the same ones, you know. And with the U-bolts out, this ball does fall more or less, you know, pretty well in there, so that's good. So what I might do today, I might clean up a cap and get it to fit on there. And I've got to clean this up, clean a ball up. I'd rather get a ball. I've got a ball. I'm sure I've got a new ball somewhere. Put it on and put the cap on. Clean up the bolts. There's the bolts. And I'll put a couple of nuts on, even though they might not be the nuts that I'll end up using, but I'll put a couple of nuts on. And then, you know, it might all have to come apart yet, but by putting it all together, you know, I'll know what parts I've got and what parts I haven't got. Now, last night I came out and did something. I didn't film it, and I had this is the clamping piece, and you can see where I've heated it up, there, and there, where I've heated it up, and had it in the press, supported on the sides there, and I was pressing in the middle, heating it up, because it was bent, and now this is okay to bolt up now. So I'm going to give this a wire brush, clean it off, and give it a wipe over with acetone ATF mix. So what I'm thinking I might as well do is bolt the axle on I'm just trying to assemble it up, even though it might not be the final assembly, so that I know what I can more or less forget about and not have to worry about. Then I can start looking at the kingpins and the spindles and the hubs and the backing plates and the brake shoes and all the pivots. All these things need to be found, need to be located, and decisions made which hubs to use and things like that. So, enough waffling, let's assemble it up. Hello. Right, I'm going to try something. You see this ball? I'm told that if you offer it up like that, put a puff of air in the end there, it'll pop on. I've never tried it before, I'm going to try it. I've cleaned that up as best I can. I'm going to put some rubber grease on it, get the airline in contention. Enough to last me a lifetime. I don't know if you're supposed to do this, I doubt whether you are, but this is the stuff that it's okay to put on brake seal rubbers. It's actually proper rubber grease, so I'll try some of that, and that'll kind of protect that ball. Here's the ball. I mean, it'll probably go on anyway, but alright, I've got eye protection on. Maybe not. Okay, let's try it again. Seems to be blowing it off rather than putting it on. Oh, it's gone on anyway. Okay. Not a massive success, but it went on. I've cleaned up this. It's quite badly pitted inside, but I'm going to put some more of that rubber grease on it. And I've wire brushed it, and I've flattened the ears where the ears were a bit bent. I've had it in the press and flattened it a bit. So let's put a bit of grease around there. Rubber grease. Kind of making this up as I go along, you can tell, can't you? Okay, I'm going to heave-ho the axle back up and get that ball to sit in there. It's quite heavy lifting this axle. So that's well plastered up with that red grease. So that goes there. I haven't tightened the U-bolts up, obviously, because I've just plonked it in place. I might use these as a temporary job. But because this is a relatively small dimension, that clearance there, you need to use the 5/8 diameter ones. The 5/8 AF ones, not the 9/16. Standard size for a 7/16 bolt is a 9/16 nut. I'm going to just use these for now, more or less for mocking up. These are actually Ford 100E wheel nuts. So they're 7/16 thread. We've got a 3/4 AF hex on them. But because they're tapered, they fit in tight down at the bottom. It'll do for, not mocking up, but you know, an initial build sort of thing. I don't know if many people are familiar with it. I'm not that familiar, but that's the spring plate. But this is the bump stop. And that goes in the middle of there like that. I might put a bit of that red grease on it and maybe it'll squeeze through a bit. I want to put some ATF acetone on it to protect it. I'll put a bit of red grease in the middle of there. I'll put that on there. It's kind of sitting up on the bolt a little bit, but I think that'll be okay. Oops, here's my bolts, which I'm going to just wipe over with the same stuff. Oh, that's quite tight actually. It's amazing how floppy this is until you tighten up these U-bolts. That looks okay. Yeah, it looks alright. It's tight. Okay, good. I've cleaned up these original bolts and these nuts, ran a die down the bolts and ran a tap through the nuts. So I'm going to see if I prefer these to these. These have got the thick, you know, the thick head with no markings on, Ford setup. I can see that the split pin hole, the nut is low compared to the split pin hole. That's because I think the metal has worn a bit, you know. So I'm going to cheat it a bit by using the spring washer under the bolt head, like that. See what that does for me. I was trying to turn the bolt so the bolt head is forward and back. That is quite tight actually. And that's aligned with the hole, so maybe I'll just leave it at there. Yeah, I'll go with that. That looks alright to me, that does. Best stick with the original stuff. If these things become a bit loose and start wobbling around on rough roads, you know, they kind of eat into the metal. Okay, there's the hole. These old split pins are much nicer than the ones you buy these days. Actually, these are a bit of a funny split pin, I'll show you. Can you see the shape? As you push it in, it squashes that bit and it opens the ends up. Quite clever really. Watch. See how the ends have split apart? That'll do, won't it? Okay, another job done. I'll show you something else that I've just done. I've wiped over the sides of the rails with ATF acetone mix. and it's darkened it down a bit. Don't know if I've missed a bit there. I'm thinking that once it drives through some dusty roads, it will get a nice covering of dust on it. Yeah, this looks okay, I think. And I've just wiped over that bit there where I did the repair. So there's the front axle assembled up. I'll do a cold wall motors slow pan with the front suspension. Early Fords, thing of beauty. Looking alright, isn't it? I've got the cold wall motors tune going through my head now. Let's go down the length of the... Got the remnants of a brake thing there. I'll take that off. I'll just wipe these with a bit of ATF acetone mix. And there's the area that I've just been working on. Which looks okay, I think. Nice. Good. Okay. So that'll be it now. That's the last view of it upside down like that, because I mean mate's coming round, we're going to lift it down and flip it over. Okay, thanks a lot then, see you in a bit, bye.